everyone. I was just waiting to see if we're growing in numbers, which is good. I should let it go live so that it notifies everybody, and then we'll wait and then get all the viewers. But whatever, we're here. Welcome to Kensington Live. We're doing this every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday here on Kensington Theatre Company's Facebook and on Kensington Theatre Company's YouTube page. So I assume those of you who are watching have been with us and you watch every time, and I thank you for watching. And if this is your first time, welcome. A few things before we get it right into Little Shop, and this is going to be a lot of fun talking to two casts tonight. You can be watching either, like I said, from Facebook or from YouTube. Wherever you're watching, because this is live, if something happens and we disconnect from one, which has happened, if for some reason something happens, go to the other ones. If you're on Facebook, go to YouTube, YouTube, go to Facebook, okay? And then also, wherever you're watching from, in the comments, if you comment, it will come onto my system and I'll put it up on the screen. So we want to know, these were big casts or big-ish casts, and so maybe you're watching and maybe you're in the 2010 Little Shop, or maybe you're just in the recent one in 2020. I wish we could have everybody on. We can only have so many people on this program that we use, but if you're watching and you were in the show, I want to know your favorite moments of the show. That could be in the show or off stage or in the rehearsal process. Funny stories that you might have about anybody in the cast or someone on the screen, or if you have a question about Little Shop or the actors or anything about the process or whatever, put it in the comments and I'll put it up on the screen. All right. So comment. We love it. We have a few comments already that were before the show of love being part of this show back in 2010. Can't wait to see this tonight. Yay. And Kevin Quaderer was an amazing Seymour in 2010. I flew in from Virginia to see it. Kevin, I have a feeling that they're related to you with the middle name or the maybe last name Quaderer, right? You can not, yeah. All right. So anyways, comment, all right? Also, if you are watching, you can go back and watch. This is I think it's our 17th show. Kind of seems like a low number, but actually it seems like a lot that we've been doing ever since this whole social distancing and quarantining happened, and it's been so much fun. So if you have not been keeping up with us and watching, go back and you can watch all of them on YouTube or on Facebook through Kensington Theatre Company. It's been a lot of fun. We've had spit takes by some people that are on tonight. Yeah, Jen looks at the camera. We had spit takes. We've had zip lining. We've raised probably $2 million at this point for Kensington Theatre Company. It's amazing. All right. Also, I was going to say this. Also, you won't know this unless you've been watching, but we learned something on last Saturday with the Improvinators. Touch lives, not crevices. You won't know what that means until you go watch Improvinators from last week, okay? if you're watching, I just saw that I still have that ticker across the bottom, still loaded. Anyways, speaking of Improvinators, this Saturday we're going to be doing Improvinators again. This is the third week. We're doing Improvinators every Saturday night at 7 p.m. So come back, watch Improvinators. It's a lot of fun. This week we're doing Heroes versus Villains. So we're going to have teams. It's going to be a lot of fun. What else? We have some. Oh yeah, and we're gonna mention Little Shop, Big Shop, Little Shop. That ELA did this year. Of course, we're going to talk about it a little bit. All right. My other thing that I've been saying is we're all in this together. Yes, cue the dancing. You can dance. But will you reach out to 3 people every day and just make sure that they're doing okay? It can be different people, or it can be the same people every day, and just make sure that your friends, your family, those you care about are doing okay, because these are unprecedented times. With that, I wanted to do a quick plug on something that I think is really cool. And anyways, as we transition tomorrow in the state of Utah to orange, rather than a red status to an orange status with all this social distancing and all these things, trying to sort of navigate this new way of life. We need to keep doing what we're doing and keep social distancing and keep doing these things so that we can get past orange and into yellow. But what you're going to need is while you're going out and going to the grocery store, going wherever you have to go, you're going to need a mask. And I just wanted to do a little plug because the state of Utah is working with the Utah Manufacturers Association, which my father is the president of this Manufacturers Association, and they have been working so hard getting all these companies, these manufacturers that have made different things from airplanes to packages for food to all sorts of things have been affected by this, the virus and shutting down companies. And what they've done is all come together and stopped at least partially making what they make and have started to make masks for the state of Utah. So through the state of Utah, through the government, they are starting this program called Every Mask for a Utah, a mask for every Utah, I think it is. And you can go on, I'm going to put up the website on the screen. You can go to coronavirus.utah.gov/mask, and you can get a mask. I have one here. Here, I'll leave that up. And get one of these cool masks. Here's one of them. It's got arches on it. They're really quite nice. They've got different styles, all sorts of different masks. But you can go on and get and order masks, and these are made in Utah, supporting the local economy and these manufacturers. And they're reusable. They're not, you don't have to throw them away like the other masks. They're really great quality, and you can be supporting Utah in this, in their initiative to get every Utah a mask. So go on to this website, and you can order masks for your family so that you can wear them out to do whatever and not and look stylish while you're at it, right? Because these are, you're representing the state. How cool are those, right? So go get yourself a mask. Keep doing what you're doing, staying inside, staying healthy, and we'll get through this. For now, we're doing Kensington Live. So come every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and we'll be here doing Kensington Live. So we're going to be here still. Keep coming back, all right? We got some comments. I miss Little Shop. I miss Little Shop. It was so fun. Oh, I like it. I love seeing Little Shop before. The show was beautiful. I love it. All right. Oops, I'm going to take down this banner. You got it? Got the website? All right. All right. Let's get into this, shall we? We're talking with both casts of Little Shop of Horrors. Back then, South Jordan Community Theater, Kensington Theater Company now, did Little Shop of Horrors. And then almost 10 years later, almost to the exact month, where we did Little Shop. It was our last show before this all closed. Barely got through its run, and then everything closed down. So really cool that we're doing this with kind of looking back and more recent show. So let's bring on our, she's on everything. Tony Butler.
I feel like I'm truly will be on everything once I get on one of those masks.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to put your face right on the mask.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
So, Tony, we're going to talk to both casts, but and I guess we'll get in, or we can get into it now, but talk about doing the show 10 years apart. What changed from that first time to now, or did much change, or I don't know. Was it the same?
Okay, well, first of all, may I point out that I have directed Little Shop 5 times, and I've been in it twice. So even though Kensington did it in 2010 and 2020, I did it twice in between there, and once before, and twice before that. And so, I would say the most that changed, really, was the venue, right? We had a cooler venue. We added a rotating stage, so that was super cool. But I don't know, I love it. You teach this as a teacher that you can do a role 100 ways right. And all these casts, all the 7 casts that I've been a part of have proven that true, that you can be your own unique Seymour. You can be your own unique the dentist and be completely successful at it as somebody else doing it in another show in another decade. These are decades apart. And so, yeah, really, maybe the venue, but we had the same motorcycle. We had the plant improved. Kevin Quater can tell you more about that later because he helped with the plant as it is now. And but it's just such a great show. I love this show. And so it's, I mean, obviously I've been a part of it. I think I've been a part of Little Shop more than any other show I've ever done. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, how do you, I think maybe some people, I don't know, maybe those that have, well, they should see it. If you haven't seen it, go see it.
For sure.
Or there's a movie, but go see the actual show.
Go see the show, yeah. Well, if you can now, right?
Right. But how do you, I think maybe some people might go, oh, Little Shop of Horrors, is this a scary, I mean, it's got like, not scary themes, but it's, but then there's, this great story in it that when you get past all that stuff, right? So how do you did it really well. So I'm trying to set you up to tell us that it's easy to get around all this,
Easy to love? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, or not be, not scared.
Well, yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean, it is truly about a man-eating plant. I'm getting a text from Trenton right at this moment. He's wanting me to create a broadcast. It's not taking me to yours. Trying to get him on. So it's a dark comedy, which means that it's going to shed truth on our own selves. A dark comedy stretches life a little bit and then really, really magnifies truths that we find in ourselves and helps us laugh at those truths. And so, like, the idea of, would you really ever cut up a dentist and feed it to a man-eating plant, right? You probably would not.
Right.
But what would you do if fame knocked at your door? Would you compromise your own values to get what you wanted? And that is something, truthfully, that would happen to you, could happen to you.
Sure.
And that's what a dark comedy does so beautifully. And come on, Alan Menken, I mean, put together his music. If you don't know him, he's the same guy that did Little Mermaid. I mean, he's
your entire childhood, basically.
Right? He's amazing. So you put together his beautiful music. His script is just so humorous. And he's made these characters so lovable. Really, Audrey and Seymour, I would consider them probably two of the most loved couple in musical theater, probably. They're very, very well liked, and he wrote them so well. And it is funny, though, we had Sterling. I should get Sterling on here. But Sterling was our stage manager for the last one, and he was a little bit involved in the first one because he was a screaming child that came to see our first one because he was so scared of the plant. And so his parents asked us to come backstage so he wouldn't be scared of the plant. And so I remember him coming backstage. I didn't even know the Turners at the time. And then come full circle, he was so excited to revisit it, knowing it wasn't super scary. It wasn't inappropriate. It was just a really great show. And Sterling adored. I don't know, you out there, Sterling? Give us a comment, Sterling. Okay.
I love it. That's so funny. Yeah, and wasn't Sterling one of the ones that helped move that rotating stage? And
yep, he was in charge of that. It was, and actually Zoe, because we did something very, very interesting this time with the ELA and Kensington, where it was double cast, but my ninth graders always put on a musical, and the adults always put on a musical at about the same time. And so, going from one play to the other, there's this transfer where we transfer over the sets and everything. And it's actually really hard to do it really fast. And so I thought, hey, what if we did the same show? We did the same show at the same time, put two shows basically in rep, but really it's double casting. And see how that works out. And so every show, the ninth grade cast and the ELA had a full double cast. I mean, we actually did dip into each other's cast because our Audrey got sick a week before we opened. And so, sorry, I just saw something pop up. And so the big cast, we called it Little Shop and Big Shop. That's what Logan was referring to.
Yeah.
And so our Big Shop Audrey came in, and our Big Shop Seymour came in, and they helped out the Little Shop people. At one point, our Little Shop stage manager we were worried that she was going to be sick. So our Big Shop almost had to come in and stage manage for her. But yeah, it was actually quite a lovely experience having the two different ones. And they both were completely successful in their own right, too. It was very cool.
I was going to say they both were great in their own way, even though it was almost like the same show, but was different in their own way, right?
Yeah, just kind of a celebration of their own cool.
Yeah, I like that. All right, well, should we should we get some people on here and talk to the 2010 cast of Little Shop?
Yes, of course. Bring it on.
Should we let's watch the promo video, shall we?
Oh, please.
From that one. All right, I'm gonna pull it up. Let's see if it works. Dun, 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 dun.
These ones are funny. I remember these.
All right, let's see. Doo, doo, doo. Come on.
I'll do some dancing for you.
Some dancing.
Little shop, little heart, little shop.
Oh.
Up a dinner, call the cops.
Thank you.
Where we could be together as love. And where is that, honey? In the emergency room.
That was so fun to see. I haven't watched that for a while.
That was so fun. Well, let's bring on I think the only person so far, who knows, we'll get more, that was in the original 2010, Kevin Quadrer.
Hey, everybody.
Kevin, that was so fun to watch you do that, and we had some comments. You can do the worm?
What can he do, really, right?
I didn't know I could do it before, and I haven't done it since. That was, the one and only worm in my repertoire.
You've never used it for your students?
No, that kind of remains like a pocket talent, just one of those things that you don't want to show your hand on that one, and then just one day it's going to be the worm, and half the kids will catch it, and half of them won't, and they'll talk for the rest of the year. Did that actually happen? Did you see that?
Oh, I think
you got to leave them guessing.
So we're missing a bunch of your counterparts, which we get it. They said they have other things. Jen is teaching some musical theater class. Like, she's so cool.
She is so cool. It's true. Adam Cannon was the first comment you brought up, though. He was in it. He was in the first cast.
Yeah.
And Quinn Drake. I see Quinn Drake. Yeah.
Yeah, Quinn showed up in the comments.
Yeah.
Hey, Quinn.
I love it. So, Kevin, you get to be our source of all knowledge, well, with Tony, about the first 2010 cast of Little Shop. First, how was it being, we were talking about Seymour. How's it playing Seymour? And then, let's start with that.
Yeah, that had always been kind of a bucket list role for me. So I had just come off of Secret Garden with South Jordan Community Theater, as it was known at the time. And the next show was Little Shop. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to be in that show. And it wasn't a good time for me to do another show, but I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going to audition and we'll see what happens. And yeah, the audition, so many really, really talented people showed up, and also me. Yeah, they cast the show, and I was like, holy cow, I get the chance to be in this role. And it was just amazing to work with all those talents, Jeff and Seth and Jen, and everybody in that cast. I learned so much from them, and it was just a big stretch for me to play a role like that. I didn't really think I could do it. But yeah, had a lot of great support, and it turned into just one of the greatest experiences that I've had on the stage. Yeah. Just in the role itself, and then also just with that cast, being part of that team.
Yeah, I love that. So Tony was talking about you helping make this, Audrey 2, this big plant. There you are.
Yes. That is actually not the plant that he made. If you show a picture of he made the one that we used from my junior high in 2000, what was it, 16, I think? Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So we did make that one. Sorry, Kate, so the story goes like this. So
it's a strange and interesting story.
Yes. So I taught at East High School, and they had a full set that Carter Williams, he's a genius with art and all that kind of stuff. He made 4 plants. And so I rented the 4 plants from East High School. So when we went to go get it, he only had 2 of the 4 plants. And I'm like, oh, this is a problem. And so Kevin is like, anyway, I don't even know how it worked out, but we're like, we're going to have to build these plants. So we call them Audrey 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so we had 1 and 4, but we didn't have 2 and 3. And so we built 2 and 3 for this one. So that's the one that Seymour actually uses. And I think you kept it for a while, didn't you, Kevin? That's the first one. That's Audrey 1. And Kevin kept it for a little while. I thought he brought it out at Halloween for his students or something at one point.
Yeah, I did. That was just kind of, I would have a bunch of random stuff kind of up on the shelves in my classroom for many years, just little conversation pieces, whatnot, creative writing story prompts. And that was one of them. And the kids always just thought it was like a thing up there on the shelf. And then to see it come alive for Halloween, I'd wear it as a Halloween costume. It was like, oh, it was such a hit. And yeah, instant Halloween costume for years. It was great.
Yeah, and he manipulated it really, really well. Trenton also did such a great job, and Aiden in this one. Oh, in fact, I saw Trenton pull up right now. He's coming in. Don't worry, he's in my quarantine circle. He's been diseased. Or we're not diseased, none of us. Anyway, but then what happened is we came to, it was so funny. So we came to the 2016 one, and we're like, well, we'll rent the plants again, right? We already know we have 2 and 3. We'll just rent 1 and 4 again. So we go to get the plants, and they have 2 and 3 and not 1 and 4. And we're like, well, we already have 2 and 3. We need 1 and 4. So Kevin, sorry, I'm going to open the door for Trenton.
Stop. Here, I'll show some pictures.
My dog's sicking him. Anyway, so we're like, Kevin's like, you know what? I'll build that plant for you. Why not? It sounds fun. I'll do it. So him and Caroline and some other of his friends, I mean, it was just really these guys putting it together. And then I gave them like stuff. I'm like, here's mattress pads, here's this, and here's that. And he did a really cost-effective Audrey. And he wanted to make it so you could manipulate it really, really well. And so anyway, he took over making 4, and then I made another little 1. And so then we ended up having our full set. So when we thought about doing it again, we're like, well, we've got our own set now, so why not do Little Shop again? So we did.
So Kevin's work is in every little shop that will ever be done at Kensington Theater Company.
That's true. Maybe you can tell him about building that big one, because that was quite a thing. Look, here's Trenton. I told him I was opening the door for you.
Hi, Trenton.
We're talking about 2010.
We'll get to you in a second.
Yeah, Tony asked me to build that thing, and I'm not sure why. And she was like, have you ever built puppets before or anything? And I was like, no, definitely not. And so we were going to go for it, and I had no space to do this. So it just took over the living room of our house. And at one point, my wife was kind of looking at the plant and looking at me, and she was like, one of y'all is going to have to go pretty soon.
That's true.
She says from the background. So yeah, we kind of made a skeleton out of conduit, and like we tried a bunch of stuff. PVC wasn't working. It wasn't strong enough. I wanted it to be lightweight enough that it could be puppeted, and really get it animated. And then also keeping in mind that it was going to be kids using it, the middle schoolers. So not, maybe an adult inside there, but something small enough and light enough. So yeah, went through a couple iterations, and then we put the mattress pad on the outside. We had no idea if it was going to look good, and then we sent it away for Tony for painting, and yeah, it just came out looking great, I thought. So yeah, it was a ton of fun, and now I get to put that as one more bullet on the resume.
It was really cool. They'd send me pictures as it was coming along, and when we went to go get it, it was really fun. They did such a good job, and I can see, yeah, the kids love the plants. We bring those out, and the really luxury part too about these two casts that normally you don't get in a cast is you usually introduce the puppetry the very last 2 weeks or maybe even week because you're renting the plants. But these two casts got to rehearse the plants from day one, which was really exciting. Although my school started in September and the big shop had to do it in 3 weeks. So, so they got it, 3 weeks before we opened.
They figured it out.
They did fine.
So, Kevin, because you're our only source, like I said, do you have any funny stories? Anything that you're remembering from Little Shop? It can be about someone. I wish Jeff was here, because then we'll just not make fun of Jeff, but we would ask Jeff what his funny stories are. But any funny stories, Kevin?
I know, seriously. Hopefully he shows up. Yeah, for me, a lot of it was a blur, to be perfectly honest with you. It was such a demand. For me, I don't have as much experience on the stage maybe as others, and so it was pretty demanding. And I feel like a lot of it kind of ran together, but a couple things do stick out. One was the cast was all sitting having lunch, and Tony brought in the gun. So Seymour shoots a gun at the plant in the last scene. So it's kind of fun, how often do you get to fire a gun on stage? So this is pretty cool. So we're looking at this thing, and I think it was a starter pistol. And it was this old thing in the box, and I'm kind of opening it up and looking at it. And she was like, or I was like, is it loaded? And she said, I don't know, just pull the trigger and find out. So in the middle, we're all eating. I just pointed at the ceiling and pulled the trigger, and bang, it goes off and scared the heck out of me and a couple people nearby. And then I'm like kind of tearing up a little bit, and I'm like, this is weird. What's happening? And I looked inside there, and they were tear gas cartridges that were inside this starter's pistol. It doesn't make any sense. Don't ask me why, but that's what happened. And so yeah, I sprayed this tear gas into the air. Luckily, I'm not sure that anyone else got a full blast of it, but yeah, that happened.
I do not remember this. I think he's making this up.
No, this is true.
It's got so many specific details. I don't know if he could.
Okay, I also remember. I thought that was Kevin that ordered the gun, if I remember right. Didn't you find that gun on eBay or something?
I don't know where that thing came from. It was something like that. I remember is I was holding this box, and I kind of opened it up, and it was paper inside, and this faded label, like it had. Yeah. I don't know where that came from.
Very small. It was cute. Very cute.
Yeah, this tiny little thing. I whip it out. Yeah.
Yeah, we used it in the last 3, too.
Yeah.
All 4 got the same gun.
Just like the plant is mysteriously placed in their lives, this mysterious tear gas gun showed up in Kevin's hands.
It probably still smells like tear gas, but don't smell it, because you shouldn't smell guns. Another thing, Tony, I'm not sure if I ever told you about it, but just during the run of the show, I started to get these kind of like aura migraines, like in the middle of these performances, and they didn't hurt, they weren't painful, but I would get these like crazy blind spots and just like blankness. So I would be standing on stage, and I would know that I had a line coming up, and I'd be like, all right, like, cool, what's my line? Nothing. Like dial tone, like boo, and then I would open my mouth, and then the words would just come out, and like the scene would just kind of keep on going. It was super weird.
Wow.
But, no. Yeah, just really, really odd. But never, like, I don't think it ever affected a performance or anything else. So I just kind of didn't tell anybody about it, and just kept rolling with it. And yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
But other stories would just be, you know, about the cast. Like Seth and Jeff were just such goofballs, and you never knew what those guys were going to do. And Seth's physical comedy was just so crazy because he's just, you know, huge. So just getting picked up and put down and everything that he was able to do. And then, you know, just his mind is huge as well. So, you know, watching where he would go with the role, you just never quite knew. And his ad libs and interacting with the audience and stuff, it was amazing to watch. And Jeff is just brilliant, you know. At the same time, he can just be so hilarious and so vulnerable and so authentic, and you know, it just such an absolute joy to work with on the stage. So yeah, I don't know if those qualify as funny stories.
I remember one story about, well, it was Seth and Jeff again, because those became quite the duo at the end of this thing. I think they actually met in this show, if I remember right. But
you're right.
We were striking till I think 4 a.m. because that's what we used to do in those olden days. And I remember those two doing a dance or something. We were finally done, and they were out in the back at 4 a.m. or something doing this dance. Someone did record it. I wish I had it so I could show you guys, but it was.
We have no. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
That would be
Wait, Logan. Just kidding. We don't have this one. That is not true. We won't get you too excited. I see Quinn. Oh, she's so great. The trash bag choir out. Yes, I've actually done that ever since too, because I loved how it worked so much. It was just a funny idea I had, because I don't know, they're all derelicts. So I'm like, what would they have that would represent choir robes? Trash bags, of course. And I remember every time you tell the next group that, hey, you're going to be wearing trash bags at this moment in time, they're all like, and then they embrace it and they love it.
And it makes for a funny scene, because they come out and you're like, what the?
It's cheap costuming.
It works. It works.
We're on a budget.
I love it. So Kevin, let's transition to the other one, but then I want to have you.
Hey, in the transition, maybe we can bring both Seymours on for just a second, because Trent's here too.
Well, that's what I was going to do. Is I was going to have Kevin come back and we'll talk at the end.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, sorry.
Well, let's do. Well, let's bring Trent and have him come on and have him.
Trenton, come on. Okay. Sorry, I'm linking onto him right now. Online.
He's coming in, and there he is. Hi, Trent.
Doesn't work.
Oh, wait, it's good. Okay, this way.
Yes.
There you go.
Hi, Trent.
Hello.
So from one Seymour to the other Seymour, maybe you can let's. I just thought of this. What is the most difficult part of the show for Seymour's character? Song, or a scene, or a transition, something, whatever. Ooh, weird question.
Good.
What we have here is an ethical dilemma.
Those words are hard. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard song.
That took me a little while.
Did you ever do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony, yeah, I did. Practiced a lot, actually.
I think it was Aiden that never got it. Aiden was our Seymour in A Little Shop. Not throwing into the best, Aiden. You did a great job. You were super cute. I wish he was on. We'll put him on too.
I know.
Did 3.
Anybody? That can be it if you.
I would say just kind of the volume of the thing. I remember I had it timed out. There was one time where I could use the bathroom, during the show. So I would literally run. I think it was during, the dentist song, like pushing people out of the way, like, out of the way, Seymour's got to pee. Like, so it's just being on stage that whole time, I think was fairly demanding. And then the other side of it is the character is silly, but how to also make it feel real. You could just play everything off and make it, a little bit too much of a gag, but where to still find those moments within the character and portray those as, just honest moments, because temptation could be to just slip into silliness the whole time, I think.
Well, and I think Seymour is maybe one of, if not the character in the show that grounds us to like real, because you have lots of other characters that are so
we got you.
So over the top, and Seymour is one that is, I relate to him and being, in his situation.
Well, it warned you in the script too. The authors actually warn you to make sure that you keep Audrey and Seymour genuine and don't play them up like a cliche nerd or something like that, to make sure that you keep them real. And I think they both did a great job. All the Seymours that I've had have done a great job. Shout out to Braden too. If Braden's out there somewhere, he was when Trenton was in it. Trenton's been in it twice.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to agree with Kevin on the last thing he was saying. Just keeping Seymour genuine. I don't know. I slipped into that cartoony nerd really easily, and I kind of had to realize just be you can also be real on stage. You don't necessarily always have to be acting and that's why this was such a cool role for me, because it was super different from what I've ever done before, really. And so I kind of got to let a different part of myself show. So it was I had to find a line between Seymour and Trenton and then kind of walk on it. And that's where I found being genuine was, and making sure I was staying, someone who makes you smile when he does something funny, not just oh, that kid's just trying to make me laugh, or there goes that guy again.
If I remember right, I'm pretty sure your mom commented to me that his Seymour was her Trenton. Does that make sense? And all the roles that she's seen him in, she's this is as close to the Trenton I know as she's ever seen him on stage, which is kind of sweet, I think.
I was going to say that you did a good job, Trenton, because it was very, very honest and real. So
thank you.
Bravo. All right. What else? Seymour to Seymour, anything?
Seymour, I don't know. The singing was
I've never met another Seymour before. I don't know how to
I know, this is
proceed.
All right, well, we'll come back because these two are going to do a special musical. No, just kidding. No, but you could if you want. No. All right. Let's say bye to Kevin for a second, and then we'll bring him back to talk more about Little Shop. Okay. And let's watch the trailer for the most recent Little Shop, shall we?
Yes.
All right.
The soundtrack is better.
Yay! So fun. I have lots of pictures, so I'll put up some pictures. So let's start with Trenton, then I'll add some other peeps that are down below. Trenton, my first question is: did you ever get confused on stage with the revolving stage going in and out and coming around?
Yes.
Go.
The doors. We always had to remember, especially which door was push and which door was pull. There was a lot of times where we'd get stuck trying to push the door, and it was the pull door. You're trying to pull the door, and it was the push door. And Tony's like, don't break my stage. And we were like, I don't know where I'm going. Oh, it was so awesome.
Do you remember which one is which if you look at that picture?
The one with the window, you pull going out of the store, and the one that's just a flat door, you push going out of the store.
Yeah, I didn't even give them a handle so they wouldn't break it.
Yeah.
It was full on.
It just
flush.
We had no option, and I'm pretty sure there was still some times when we got confused.
I'm like, that's why you put blocks, door blocks, so the actors won't pull it the wrong way.
Yeah,
yeah,
it was good.
They did great. That was a super fun cast. This one is more recent, of course. I mean, like you said, it's the last thing we did. Probably the last normal play we may do in a while, or at least what we used to know as normal.
Right.
And this cast was tight. Like they were so enjoyable. The adults, every single one of them. And I remember the other cast being super tight as well, but this one is more, it's fresh in my memory. And I just couldn't get over how kind they were to the younger cast. Shout out to all of them. They were so great mentors to the younger cast. And they were so giving and kind and excited about everything that happened in it. It was tight. It was a cast that I seriously, I miss all my casts, but in particularly this one brought me a lot of joy at a really important time. So
fun.
Shout out to you guys.
Yay. So Trenton, what is, first let's do your favorite moment as Seymour. So on stage, whatever scene, what's your favorite moment as Seymour?
It's gotta be, it's a toss up between, when all the people are offering me deals and then I kind of cut into my own world and I'm seeing like, I don't want to do this. No, I'm going to kill the plant. And then just the entire shift when everything pauses and it just switches, like the emotion shifts, like the lighting, the music, everything. And it's just that moment when he's just like, but there's Audrey. And I don't know, that was kind of a hard moment to get at first. And I messed up the singing a lot for a while, but that was okay. We figured it out in the end. But like, I don't know, it was just a super tender moment for me. And it was hard for me to be vulnerable with it at first, but after a while I began to enjoy the times of vulnerability. I mean, that's what makes people enjoyable, I think, is when you get to see who they really are, not the wall that they're putting up. And I think that was a really beautiful moment on stage for me, at least. I really enjoyed being able to share that with the audience, and especially just like cinematically the whole thing shifting, and I don't know, it was all really cool. I just like that part a lot.
I think often in theater, like he's talking about, that was one of his hardest times to get, like just in general, but he nailed it when we got to performances. But I find that in theater a lot, it's kind of, theater always translates to life, the lessons you learn. But I find even when I'm doing characters that the hardest things I have to do on stage or have to conquer on stage, I end up enjoying the most in front of an audience in performance. And I think that's what Trenton enjoyed. Just FYI, he was the dentist in the 2016 version. So a little bit different role there.
Polar opposites a little bit. Yeah, that was cool.
Different purposes.
My other question is, how was being eaten by the plant, and or how did you flip around inside the plant for as many different ways of looking at it?
I loved being eaten by that plant so much. That was so much fun. Just like Tony was like, okay, go get eaten. And I was like, oh, this is my time. So I don't know, I just jumped in there, and every time it crunched down, I was like, okay, I got like half a second. So I had to like think ahead. How am I going to shift my body? Boom. And then I just went for it. And I was like, oh, this is great. I love getting eaten. I'm just going to sit here and yell and die. And everyone's laughing at me while I'm dying. And it's great. Oh, it was a blast.
It was like wakeboarding in a plant.
Oh, wakeboarding in a plant. Or like wrestling. I feel like it was more related to wrestling.
Okay, wrestling in a plant.
I'm surprised you didn't get hurt in that process.
I don't think he's the one that would have gotten hurt. It was Isaac that actually
had to deal with the knife coming in.
Well, and Isaac Butler was in that top lip, and he was lifting it up higher because you need two people to create. When somebody gets eaten, you have to have two people manipulate the plant. And so Isaac would lift it up, and then when Trenton's weight went on the bottom jaw, it fell on Isaac's head. And then when Trenton got eaten, he actually had to crawl between Isaac. Isaac's right here, right between Isaac's legs, and go through we called it the poop chute.
Yeah, too many hamburgers. I kept weighing down Isaac.
No, it's just it's just the plan.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, let's bring on some other people, shall we?
Awesome.
Heck yeah.
How about Isaac?
Hey.
And
How's
then,
it going, guys?
good. How are you?
Bailey's
Excellent.
on. She's trying really hard. And I invited Seth Goldkling, but I don't know if he's coming. We invited a lot of people.
Seth's here.
Seth's here.
Yeah,
I'll put him on in a second, but if Bailey comes on, I'll put her on.
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, so Isaac, I'm gonna put up a picture of you. There you are.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
The costumes were so good.
what was your favorite part as the dentist? Not maybe off stage or whatever, but as your character.
As a dentist, I think you got it right there in that picture. It was definitely, now it's just a gas. Like literally, like from beginning of that scene where I'm ripping someone's tooth out to, me, dying from all this laughing gas in my head and getting to wear this cool space helmet thing that I got to work on was pretty fun. Just getting to just to let loose on such a ridiculous and wacky character, especially since, you really get to, because of the scenario in the scene, because he's this cool greaser kind of mean biker guy, and then suddenly to shift into like this wacky, just like clown laughter. It was so fun. Just to let it go and have fun with it. It was very, very, very fun.
Yeah, you were super. Just a little bit of audition insight, because it's always fun, I think, to have somebody. When these guys auditioned, most people thought Isaac would be Seymour and Trenton would be the dentist. That was, most people did. And when they found out the casting, like, what? I don't see that. Naturally, Isaac's been kind of our designated nerd, right?
Yeah, he's a nerd well.
Our designated bully. And but when they did it, but they both had moments, like when you're casting, that intrigued me and made me I call them kind of my zing moments when I'm auditioning, where I'm like, ooh, that is a more in-depth character. Our show will be better if these guys are in these places. And also, you can't take the teacher out of me. And I'm like, if they both are in these opposite roles, they're going to learn so much more from this experience than if they went to something that was super easy for them. So it wasn't easy for Isaac, actually, because he's so nice. His mom actually, she commented, she's like, this is not my favorite role I've seen him in.
Yeah, because in the past, I've only ever played one mean role, and that was Stephen Kodai in She Loves Me. And he's not necessarily mean. He's just kind of despicable. He just does some things that are like, oh, what a bad man. But in this one, I'm like outright just like horrible, and I do and say horrible things. When we did the first cast reading, there were lines that I struggled to say out loud in the first cast reading. I was like, I can't do this, guys. This is a lot. And there were so many moments where I would have to hit Bailey or Audrey. I would have to hit her in the back of the head, and I couldn't do it hard enough. It wouldn't look realistic enough because I didn't want to hit her. And she was like, no, come on, it's okay. I'm like, I don't know. It was very fun to overcome that, though.
But you guys did exactly what I hoped you would do. Yes, you were. You did exactly what I hoped you would do as a teacher and a director, because I knew you both could do it, because I saw it in the callback. I seriously did. He was not on my radar at all for Seymour. Seriously, he wasn't.
I didn't think about that.
But then he sang the songs, and I'm like, wow, there is something seriously there that I wanted to explore more. And for both of them, even though they were in parts they didn't expect to be in, I love it when an actor embraces what they're cast into and they just make the absolute most of it. And I got to shout out to Isaac here too. He made that mask, so you can appreciate. So sorry, Kevin. Kevin built the other one that we have. But Isaac came and he's like, hey, do you care if I, give it a shot? I love cosplay and all that stuff. And I'm like, sure, give it a shot. And he came back with this mask, and I'm like, holy
I still have it.
So gnarly. The first reveal was like, whoa, I want to wear it.
Yeah, I'd taken some inspiration from just different things I'd seen online, just kind of big ideas I had. I definitely wanted to have this giant globe, which was probably the most difficult task of it. Everything else I could put together just fine, but making that big dome and getting that to work was really fun. And also figuring out how to survive in it, I guess, because something I had taken from the old mask that we had, because I got to look at that before I asked Tony, and I saw that it had a fan inside of it, and I was like, that's a good idea. A fan would help me a lot. So I ended up installing this fan in the very front of it that just would pull air in, which was really helpful, because there was actually one night I had somebody who helped me put the mask on and turn it all on. So basically I needed her to do three things. She had to turn the fan on, turn the lights on around it, and then help me buckle myself in. So there was one night the lights were on, I was buckled in, the fan wasn't on. So I come out on stage, and this is the first time I had even tested the theory of the fan even working, was on stage. And I come out, and the fan isn't on. I didn't really notice at first because I was on stage, like totally in the moment, just laughing my head off. And then it started fogging up really, really badly. And I know Tony was like directly in front of me, and I see her with her headset, like pull it over and like start talking on the mic. And so, yeah, I realized that the fan wasn't on, and I could tell because there wasn't this like slight little vibration sound. So I knew something was up. So I had to, thank goodness I built it. So I knew where the fan button was. So I kind of had to, as I was pretending to try to take it off of me, I had to slip my finger inside and push the button to turn it on. It was like, I got so lucky. The button was not that secure. Like it was just luck that ended up happening. So that part was fun. So thank you to whoever made the past mask and gave me the inspiration for the fan. The fan definitely helped. I just, it's literally, the thing is, it's right next to me. I brought it. Yeah.
Kevin made the mask, first version, mask 1.0. And
excellent. Great job. Yeah, the fan was definitely necessary. Absolutely. So I'm thankful for that.
Pretty cool things.
Yes, thank you for letting me make that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyway, I just want to compliment those boys. I just thought they were so great in their elements. And again, audience, you're welcome.
Yeah, the dentist was actually my first dream role, like ever.
That's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to ask Isaac, was it your idea or was it Tony's blocking to have you die with your eyes wide open as that thing turned around? Because
that's entirely on me. That was just me. And I think
decide if it was too creepy or not. I had to kind of.
Yes.
Isaac was very willing to be super creepy. Like he's a really nice guy, but when he embraced it, anything Isaac does, he fully embraces. And so there were points where he was walking the line, and I'm like, okay, we're getting too creepy now.
Yeah, she told me I was too haunted house when I was doing the dentist scene there. I actually took the big hook drill that we had, and I like scraped it along the wall, and we nixed that because it was just too creepy. So I think what you saw there was like the last remnants of like something creepy that I could do. I really enjoyed it.
Well,
it was just it was hard because I would get hot and like sweat would drip into my eyes, and I had to like keep them open.
Well, the important part was we wanted to really make sure that you had to hate and love him. And so he was getting to the point where he was like, just like Edward, you know what I mean? Like, what do you call the guy in Sweeney Todd? He started becoming like Sweeney Todd. And I'm like, no, I want them to love Isaac. I want everybody to walk away still in love with Isaac. And they were.
It's just tough to do with a character like that.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those moments as an audience member that you're like, you're watching the scene, everything's fine, he dies, and then as the set turns, his eyes are just wide open. You're like, is this funny or am I really scared from him?
And I'm sitting there holding my breath, and I go,
yeah.
That's it. It's so
very
it felt very creepy.
I enjoyed that creepy moment. So I was like, I'm enjoying this. I walked that line a lot more on this side. I'm enjoying that moment. I think we're okay.
I love this.
Sorry, Mom.
Love them.
Sorry, Mom. It was great, though.
It could have been creepier. So thank Tony for that. Tell him to pull back.
Right? Isaac,
What was that?
did you feel like you grew in the part? Like, did it challenge you? I feel like it did.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think the scene specifically now, it's just a gas was something I'd been waiting for forever because, like, like I'd mentioned, it was my very first dream role. Like Little Shop itself was a show that made me want to do musical theater in general. So that scene was a scene I had like fixated on for some reason when it came to the dentist. So when it was actually anything before that, anything like not that number where I just got to like laugh and lose my mind, that was definitely tough. Trying to be like despicable yet lovable at the same time. Like he's a cool guy, but I hate him, but he's cool. Like finding that healthy balance was like really was a challenge for sure.
I know you rocked.
Tony definitely helped with that.
You rocked your costume.
Thank you. Those costumes those are some of my favorite costumes I've ever been in. Any of those dentist dentist suits, and it fit well with the tattoo I got.
He
That
did
was
not get the tattoo for the play.
No, I like in the show, I got this tattoo. It was actually completely unrelated to the show, completely unrelated to if I got cast as the dentist or Seymour. I just had planned to get this tattoo. And if casting had gone different, I probably would have, postponed getting it. But since I was cast as the dentist, I totally got the bunch of teeth on my arm. You can see right along here.
Yeah.
The teeth tattoo, which is really funny because then people asked me, is that real? Like, is it real? Did you get it for the show? And yes, it's real. No, I didn't get it for the show, but wow, it worked out very well timing wise.
I know Isaac asked me, do I need to cover up my tattoos for this one? And I'm like, no, why? No, please don't.
I was like, thank goodness. I've had to cover them up once. It was horrible. It's not a great feeling. So yeah, they worked really well for the dentist. And I was like, hey, so guess what? I've got an idea for another one, and it's teeth.
I love it. What about the motorcycle? Any challenges?
I wasn't in charge of the motorcycle. Young Isaac, Tony's son, who played the dentist in the little shop, I guess. He was in charge of all of it because he was playing the dentist, so he already knew how to work all of it. It was basically, hey, there he is. I give credit entirely to him. So he would basically start it and hand it off to me, and I would just hop on really fast. There was only one night where I didn't get on fast enough, and so the bike just stopped and stalled out. So I think that was actually opening night that I had to walk. That was I was so sad because it had worked every other night, and I just we hadn't had the perfect system down, and so I had to walk the bike out myself, which it worked out. It was funny. It was fine.
Sorry.
Oh, Tony.
We just had to start the bike outside too because of the fumes. So we
Yes.
didn't run it inside. So we had to start it and communicate. We're like, start the motorcycle now. And so they would start it outside, and then they'd have to drive it through the dock or the door or whatever.
Like weave my way through onto the stage.
So, and
It was
put
really
out as
funny,
fast
though.
as we could.
The very first time. So the very first time we tried it, I was so excited that we had the bike working that I roll it on stage, I stop it, and I was like, wow, guys, look, I did a cool thing, and everyone's yelling at me, turn it off, because you can't have it running inside. The exhaust was really bad.
Yeah, Trenton was the actual, he's the one who figured it out when we brought it back. Because Jeff Means, all right, this is my book initially. Jeff Means took it in the first one, and he works in an auto body shop. And he put on the dentist decal and all that kind of stuff, really made it look super cool. And then when we brought it back, Trenton figured out how to do it because we didn't have Jeff Means at that time. So Trenton figured out how to do everything. And then when we brought it back again, Trenton trained Isaac. And then Isaac was in charge of the bike from then on.
I love it.
Right.
And they did great all the time. Now I have a real motorcycle.
Oh.
Wow. Is mom
No, mom is very not happy.
home?
Sorry, mommy.
I'll comment in a second, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say that I was there that night that the bike stalled and didn't work, but I thought it was hilarious because from off stage we heard it all revving up, and then all of a sudden it went off, and I was like, oh, I don't know if that's supposed to happen. And then here comes Isaac with maybe someone pushing on him.
Gosh.
I thought it was funny. So
It worked out.
It's little shop. More mistakes, the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
He played
look,
off it very well.
look, we have someone who came on.
Hey! Hi!
How are you?
Great.
Good to see you guys. Sorry, you think being in this century I know how to work the internet, but I don't.
I'm in the
Wait.
same boat.
I don't know. But I got it figured out. So
We're happy you're here.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show.
me too. Thank you.
Bailey was our Audrey.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great.
Question for Audrey, or Bailey. She was fantastic.
What'd you
was-
say?
Hilarious.
I think that the audition process actually surprised people too, because Bailey came in, and we had lots of great possibilities for Audrey, lots of talented ladies. But Bailey came in, and again, there was a moment where I'm like, she is just, she understands this character better than any of these other girls. I mean, in my opinion, like how she brought it across. And she was so vulnerable and sweet. And she made, like, when they were singing, like she had a hard time, she belting the, what was it? Suddenly Seymour, maybe? Was it that one?
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think so.
Do it. It scared her to belt out like that, which is crazy because you heard her belt. She's amazing. And we all knew she could do it. But it was a vulnerable, I got to see a window in her. Sometimes when you're in auditions, you'll make mistakes. And those mistakes, for me, actually show me your most vulnerable self. And for Bailey, that's why she got the part, is because I got to see this very, very vulnerable side of Audrey. So sorry, my question is almost there. So all 4 of the Audreys that I've directed, 5. All 5 Audreys that I've directed. So because I did Liz Pasco. I don't know if Liz Pasco's out there. Quinn Drake knows her. Liz Pasco was my first Audrey that I directed. And then I had Jen, and then Annie Bearden, and then I had Bailey, and then I had Sam Means. And an interesting thing that happens with the Audrey role that at least I've seen, is each of these people were changed by Audrey. Like it actually, by being Audrey, they discovered things in themselves that actually changed them. And the stories that they told me about playing Audrey are just so beautiful. And I was just wondering, Bailey, did Audrey affect you the way that I've seen these other Audreys be affected? Bailey.
Oh yeah, like I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like, oh yeah, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like one rehearsal and I hadn't been like belting the song, like I was keeping it to myself. But then I like went for it and like everyone was clapping and I was like, I'm gonna cry, like suck it in, like it's fine, you know? And so after I like came out of this like performance, I realized like, oh my gosh, like I could do things that like I didn't think I could do. And I was very nervous at first, but in the end, I just like had so much more like confidence and like stuff like that. So it was really cool.
It was really fun too, because I remember directing Bailey and she kept putting on Audrey. And I'm like, Bailey, I don't want you to act Audrey, like put on Audrey. It says you are Audrey, like yourself, my favorite Audrey. So I had to keep like pulling her back into like, use yourself, because you are the most beautiful Audrey. And it was really fun to see her do that. Now that moment, I should point out, she says, and everybody cheered. She made it like this little small moment, you know, no big deal. No, it was a huge moment. It was so cool. Yeah. So she did it, and like everybody's in the wings, always supporting us. The cast was awesome. Everybody's in the wings, and you hear every person cheering and clapping when she went for that moment. It like
we were so happy.
It was such a beautiful theater moment in rehearsal that I won't forget.
I know, it was so great.
I love it.
Yeah, it was so great. There it is.
Okay, so Bailey.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
No. But maybe you already talked about it. Maybe that moment was your favorite. But what was your favorite moment in the show?
That for sure. And then after closing night, we had just like a jam session with the Little Shop, which was so fun because they were all so sweet and it was just really great. So
I love it. Well, I thought maybe we can bring on
for sure.
We could bring on Jen because we're talking about singing and stuff, and Jen was here. She's just backstage.
Michelle was in both shows too. She was in both shows.
Well, let's bring on both. Hi.
Hello.
Okay, so while we're talking about singing, Jen, talk to us about music directing the show. Any challenges? Because it's fun music, but there are some hard things to sing.
Mm-hmm. There is a lot of hard stuff. I love the music in Little Shop. It's so much fun. But there are a lot of challenges in that, like all of the Street Urchin Girls stuff is such a tight harmony that initially when we were working on it, sometimes they'd be right on, and then sometimes one of them would be so close to the other one that they'd join on the same note. So we'd lose a harmony, and it's like, no, wait, we need to stick with the 3-part. And so we'd go over and over again. And those girls were great to work together. I mean, they were every night working together to try and fix or make better any little spots and they sounded great. They really did. But they were always, even when we were in performances, they would going over the different parts that they knew weren't as clean as they could be.
Wow.
Working together, working schedule-wise together to try and get everybody together in that short period of time was also a little bit of a challenge. Seymour's always on stage, as Kevin had said earlier, and trying to find a time when he wasn't being blocked to actually work him with Audrey's songs and with the plant and with, that was probably one of the biggest challenges, was trying to actually find time to work with Trenton. But he worked a lot on his own too. And I know he struggled on some things. He'd get really down on himself and frustrated, but he really did a good job to keep going and keep trying until he got to that point. And you really did a good job. When you finally found that comfort zone in those couple places you struggled with, you soared. It was fantastic. And then I too loved the moment when everybody started cheering for Bailey, because I kept pushing her. I kept pushing her. I'm like, you can do it. I know you can do it. And I tried doing it in callbacks too. Do you remember me trying to push you to do it in callbacks too? I'm like, I know you can. So I knew at that point in callbacks that I was like, she can do it. We'll find it. It might take a little bit, but I know we'll find it.
Yeah.
And you did. And you nailed
I'm
it.
gonna cry.
Fantastic. Nope. It was awesome. And I think that was a growing experience for me too, just working with you and trying to help you find that comfort zone and being able to just do it and let go of the fear you couldn't. So it was a lot of fun. But just a lot of great music moments. Seth, when he auditioned, I remember listening to him and thinking, no question about it.
Yeah.
That's our plan. I mean, it's just the first time I heard him sing, it was amazing. And then Isaac, just with all of the dentist stuff, you had that little edge that just made it all that much meaner, which was hard for me because I'd seen you as the nice, sweet, kind. So I'm like, Mom, I had a really hard time seeing you be the bad guy.
Jen didn't enjoy our music rehearsals all the time. She was like, thank you.
No, but you sounded great. So I didn't have to worry about you either. I didn't like you being that character. You did fantastic.
Thank you.
I was so used to you being the really nice guy. It was really hard to watch you be an actor.
Well, your mom liked the singing. I can see she made a comment. It's super.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love all my moms.
But and then singing with the band was amazing. The band was so fantastic.
Yeah,
that was probably one of the easiest transitions, working with orchestra band, going from working with tracks to working with live. That was probably one of the easiest transitions we ever had, was with Little Shop. I think it was fantastic.
Really good stuff.
Thank you.
Well, that's what I was.
You should see the Little Shop's faces when when they realized we were doing a live band. They're like, "What? Well."
Yeah. So Michelle, talk to us about getting the band. You guys, like I said, you guys did sound so good. Talk about getting the band. I mean, because this is fun music, like we're talking about.
Yeah, so it's just a 5-piece combo, and in this show, the conductor has to be a pianist too. I mean, you can do it with them not doing it, but it looks so odd. It's just they're meant to be part of the combo. So we have me on top piano, and then another pianist, and Angel, of course, our awesome Angel, is on the drum set, and then Stuart, who's done it with us several times, playing, and then we had a bass player this time, which I didn't get to have when we did it in 2016. So that was a ton of fun. But it's, a rehearsal for them is not a rehearsal. It's a jam session. It's like totally getting ready to go in studio, and it's just a way different way to work. And it was such a blast when the actors would come in and they pop in, "Hey, can we sing with you?" And we would get together and we jam together and loved it. And I have to say that Isaac, every single night, made me jump, and the whole band would laugh. I bet. Okay, I want to see if you can guess what part it was that I would always jump.
Oh, it was probably when I'm in this bubble, and I die for the first time, and I'm there, and then Trenton taps on my mask and say, "Don't be," just like break the silence really quick.
And see, the thing is, every time we knew it was going to happen. We've done it over and over, but Jen would stop and watch me and see how high I jump. And I would every time, and then she and Angel would laugh at me. Every night, but you still
I really enjoyed like the audience would jump.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to rehearse a comedy, honestly, because when you get to like the last week, you're like, are we funny? Like, is this working? And it was so great to have the band because they were laughers. And so
Michelle helped me feel funny.
yeah. So we really appreciated the band being so laughy. They were funny.
Yeah. Band was awesome.
They were the best.
I got to sing with them. Was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
The guitar, the bass.
So Tony, will you let us tell Angel's last night joke?
You can, as long as you promise never ever to do it again.
Who said my idea?
I can't take blame for it.
Every cast. Okay, let me start with this part. Every cast, do not change anything with the show without permission. Do not change without permission. And so when that turned around, I turned to John and I'm like, who did that? Who did that? Because do not change my show without permission, Angel.
And Angel said it's easier to ask without permission.
Look like I was 12.
So here for people who don't know, so Angel thought there's a picture of a person. I think it was a guy, isn't it, Isaac?
No, it was just an ugly old lady.
That's an ugly lady making his
So
face.
picture of it in the dentist's office, and your son Tony, when he did it, he pretended like he was talking to his mom.
Yeah.
And so Angel's like, "Oh, Isaac doesn't do that, so we should put Tony's picture in there because then he can talk to him." So the last night we took a picture that we had. I had of you on my computer, I think, from something we'd done. Blew it up just big enough, and then we had the crew put it inside.
Yeah, I put it up. They didn't want to because they'd given it to the crew kids, and they were like, "We can't go through with this. I don't want to face the wrath of Tony." So I was the one that taped it up very nervously. Sterling walks up and he looks at it, and he looks at me and says, "I didn't see this. If anybody asks, I was not here for this." He washed his hands of the whole situation.
That's right. The best part was because we just thought it would be there, but then Isaac came in. Didn't you say something about your mom?
Yeah, so usually I'll gesture to the tooth that I just pulled out, and I think I had made some kind of like, "This one's for you, Mama." Then I kissed my hand and put my kiss on the picture, and I just really wanted to draw attention to it. There were definitely people in the audience that realized it was Tony Butler.
Yeah, okay, but in the defense, 90% of the audience didn't know what was going on. That's the difference between an approved joke, an approved directing thing, and a not. It's fun for the cast, but you got to make sure that it's about the audience. It's about the audience.
I think that's why I wanted to play it that way. I'm like, I can just make this that I'm talking to my mother.
In press rehearsal, you can do it another time, but not in front of an audience.
It wasn't my idea. I didn't do it. The picture was there.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Okay, I've had people do that before, and it ruins moments. It did not ruin moments on this one. It didn't ruin it. But when we did the King, I had Katie Brown was my Anna, and I had the King, and they were going in for a kiss, and they were a gong was supposed to happen, and they were supposed to come apart because I wanted to bring them as close together as I possibly could before the whole scene turns around. And it was really important to me that they came super close, but they never ever really kissed because I wanted to get, anyway, it's close as it can. So when they separated, it was heartbreaking, right? Mm-hmm. And so the last night, my band director thought it would be so funny to hold the gong and to just make them kiss. Oh. And they kept going in and in, waiting for the gong. And then eventually they had to pull out and do something else because they knew I didn't want them to kiss me, hadn't rehearsed it. So I don't know. It's important, all you people who want to play jokes, make sure that the story's integrity is always intact. Sorry, you're under my
I apologize.
Me too.
I love you guys. I do.
But I have a confession. It doesn't have to do with this joke, but I have a confession about Little Shop. Can I? You want to hear it?
Yes.
I was there. It wasn't closing night. Whatever night I was there, and I was working box office. And of course, I was making during the show outside, making the poster that goes in the wall. All right, all the posters of the shows. And I'm like, oh well, I'll just put this up. So I go back and I get the ladder, and I have my nails, and I put up the ladder, and I get up there, and I'm like, oh wait, the show is going on, and I'm about to hammer into the wall. This wall goes straight into the back of the theater, the auditorium, and I'm like, wait, and then I'm like, okay, I've dragged this ladder all the way out here, and now I can't just leave it till after the show because it looks tacky. So I'm down Riemann, he was with me. I'm sitting there on the ladder listening to Angel during Feed Me go bum bum, right, for Feed Me. I'm going and I knew I only needed a few hits before it would go in because it's not very good. Like, I was scared to death that someone was going to come out and go, who was hammering on the wall? I was going,
That's great, Logan.
Oh my gosh, the plant was so good too.
So that's what I wanted to transition into. Let's bring. Yeah, Seth is going like this. Should I bring Seth in? Let's
Please.
take out Michelle and do it real quick.
Seth.
Yay! Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Okay, so Seth, tell us about being the voice of Audrey, the voice of the plant.
Thank you so much. It was a weird experience at first because I'm so used to performing like on the stage, like in my character, where I was a derelict as well. But when I was the plant, I was actually sitting behind the audience, so it was a little weird to be able to watch the whole show unfold. But it was also super cool because I had to really work with Tom to try to get our words matched up with his movements, which was really challenging.
Yeah, so that's
you guys made it look easy.
That's what I was going to ask: is whether he was following you, you were following him, or you just figured out your own, method of doing it.
Well, I think for most of the talking parts, I'd take a deep breath. I'd go and then talk so that Tom knew I was about to talk. Really, we both had to memorize the script and all the songs. So the songs were a lot easier than the talking parts. But most of the time during like Feed Me, there was this part where I was like, I just watched Tom go. And I'd follow along. I'd be like, and just watch him the whole time.
I wish you could have seen these guys improvise. Like there were times when we stopped the show, like I'm like, hold please, and then they would keep going while I was doing something else, and Seth would be talking, and Tom would be following him, and they would improvise all the time. And my other cast actually did a really good job too. Mrs. Kugler and Emily. Emily's been on here a little bit, a few comments. They actually got pretty good too, and so we actually did a part. What do you call it? Yes.
Yeah.
We did a part, what do you call it? An assembly. And there was a part where we actually improvised for a second. I asked them questions, like just random questions. And her and Mrs. Kugler and Emily would talk together. And they did a really good job doing it too. I think after a while, you just kind of become one. And Seth and Tom, their improv was outstanding.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was really fun.
Tom was an amazing puppeteer.
Yeah, well, it was seamless. That's why I bring it up. Is it if you didn't know better, you thought that Seth was in the plant, doing the how he would do that. I don't know, but if you didn't know better, you would think he was in there.
Rumor has it the first Audrey had to do that. First Audrey too.
Really?
Had to puppet and sing. Somebody told me that.
I met somebody. who did that.
Whew.
Yeah, they came through my Starbucks and they saw the sign that I put up for that, and he was like, "Yeah, I played Audrey. I played the voice of Audrey." No, he just said I played Audrey too, and I was like, "Oh yeah, so you were the voice of the plant?" He was like, "No, I was in it. I was the voice and I was inside of it."
Yeah, Yeah.
But
no.
after having been through our rehearsals and
Crazy.
seeing like what Tom had to go through, I was like, "There's no way that's the case." But kudos to that man.
Well, the funny
That's
part
gonna be
was
tough.
that after all the shows, before I had to actually go on stage for my bow and say "feed me," everyone thought that Tom was the voice as well, and they were just like, "Why is this guy wearing an Audrey 2 tie?" I had a lot of people be like, "Was he the voice of the plan, or was he the voice of the plan?"
Yeah, we actually had to change the curtain call a little bit so people would
Yeah.
know it was Seth.
Yeah, it was fun.
Seth, what was your favorite part of being the voice of what to sing? Was it Feed Me? Was it another part?
Well, I think it's a tie. So I loved Feed Me and Get It. That was by far one of my favorite songs. Trenton and I had so much fun rehearsing that. And like, it was also so fun because I got to watch Trenton go all out dancing and banging his head and jumping everywhere. And it hyped me up. So what you guys couldn't see was that I was doing choreography back there with Selah. Selah and I were jamming out. And
Sarah's
then,
a lighting person.
yeah, Selah was doing lighting, bless her. And
Come here, Selah.
yeah, where's Selah? I
She's
need my jam out partner.
Come over here, right here. He was talking.
Yeah.
Seth saying how you would jam with them during Get It.
Yeah. And then I also really loved Sonic's Supper Time reprise. That one was very, very challenging for my voice. And it was super fun to sing it. But I really liked that back and forth in that one as well.
A lot of doTERRA spray in the backstage.
Oh yeah, there was a lot.
Lots of that.
Yep. we definitely healed my throat a lot during that show.
You know, the ensemble of this show, the ensemble, every single one of those people could have sang a lead. Every single one. And
Oh yeah.
ensemble that tight and that talented was so cool.
Oh, look at the homie.
Look at oh, I miss the family.
There's maybe behind the plant's head, which
It's
is
fun being a
actually
black guy.
Didn't a female voice do our Audrey? Sorry, Quinn was asking Little Shop of Horrors. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm trying to remember who did it, Quinn. Do you remember? Because I've had guest artists come in, like Mike Bearden did it when Trenton did it in junior high. And then Miss Kugler came in for our other one. Seth did it for this one. Kyle, who did it for the 2010, Kevin? Who was the voice of Audrey in that? Oh, it was a girl. Oh, you're right. I know what you're talking about, Quinn. I thought you were talking about East High School. No. You're talking about Cassie. Yeah, she was great. She's a great Audrey.
I love it. Hey, should we bring on our last person that is our surprise for all of you?
Yes.
It's Emily! Okay, so Emily, talk to us about singing that. Those three have some of the funnest songs and the most catchy songs that get stuck in your head in the whole show. So talk to us about singing some of the best songs in the whole show.
Oh dear.
We can't hear you.
We can't hear you, Emily.
No.
See, it's live. This is okay.
It's just like live theater. Things happen.
Are you on
No,
mute?
we still can't hear you. Check and see if you're muted.
No, she's not muted.
Sometimes you push a magic button and it works. Sometimes you go out and come back in.
Yeah, well, you can come out. Yeah, leave and then come back in.
You can try and read your lips, but
She's so cute.
There's those three. Make another one.
won't you crack to the events you just witnessed.
They look great.
Her
sing it.
one in the middle is her twin sister.
Yeah. Guess which one is older?
Which one is older? Emily?
Yeah. Emily's older, which you wouldn't expect because, Ashley's so much taller than her.
Yeah, but we're talking older. We're talking what, 2 minutes?
Like, I think it's 11 minutes.
11 minutes?
Yeah. 10 or 11, I think is the number. Oh, we've lost her entirely.
She was great. These
You
two girls
are
were
a
so great.
void.
And
They have
Kim
those like
was so
honey tone
great.
voices.
And there goes Bailey.
Goodbye, Bailey.
Hi, Bailey. Oh,
We're all
she's
getting
back.
eaten by the plant.
I'm sorry. You can't help it sometimes. Can't help it sometimes.
We
What's
talk
up?
about Seth's laugh as the plant.
Oh, the laugh.
What is
Like
Jeff
people-
doing? They're dripping like flies. It's our best funeral account.
It's a big enormous families, and they're dropping off like flies.
Yeah.
Well, while we're waiting for her to get back, does anyone want to talk about Jeff?
I love Jeff. Oh,
I have no
Jeff
words.
was-
sure, Jeff, you officially became my father.
So good.
So that's cool.
Can you? I'm just curious. Can you like link into a YouTube pretty easy by any chance?
We could try.
I didn't know if you like could do a computer thingy, but it was interesting when we at the end of Big Shop, when we closed Big Shop, Little Shop had closed the week before or the Monday before. Little Shop came to help with the strike, help Big Shop strike. And at the end, when they're all done, they did songs together, both casts together. They did Suddenly Seymour and the finale and everything. But in the middle of it, Jeff gives this sentimental speech. And so that's what I was wondering. He just out of the blue just wanted to talk to both casts, and he was very sweet. So
I don't like can I sit with him?
Can we hear you now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yay! Okay,
There
cool.
you
Wait,
go.
Ashley, she's sitting next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Hey.
We live
Awesome.
together, so you know.
that's it.
LOL. How do I get this? Oh, there we go. Okay. Bye.
Okay, you
Guys.
two. Talk about singing some of the best music in the show.
It was hard. It was really hard because you have the three harmonies and they're all really close together, especially because I was the middle one. And that can be because I want to like go down or I want to go up. Like I know the last song, the finale, when we're like singing the city names or whatever, every time it was really, really hard to like find my notes. Like every night before I went on, I was like singing in my head, like backstage, like my thing over and over and over again until I finally got it. I got like twice though. I never got it every time. I don't know what we would have done without Katie. She just held us together. Like, I don't know. It's probably because she knew a little bit more about music than us, I think, but she just held us together and I miss her. Katie, if you're watching, I love you.
We love Katie too.
We all love Katie.
We all love Katie. Hey, should we play Kensington questions so that you can keep asking or remembering what all this stuff?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
I
let's go.
already know my answer for.
Yeah. Sorry.
Best music ever.
I know. All right, so this is how it goes. Well, we can bring on whoever. Like I can bring on Kevin or whoever's off screen. Okay, and so we'll answer this for both casts. Okay, so Tony, Kevin, you can answer for 2010. Everybody else can answer for their own cast. So I'm going to put up a question, and you have to decide who in the whole cast. It doesn't have to be just the people that are on the screen, but who in the whole cast these questions pertain to, or the one person. All right.
Okay.
Let's start this with this one. Most likely to miss an entrance. And I'll look for hands. If you're off stage, you can raise your hand.
Miss an entrance?
Emily, do you have one?
I feel like it might be Trenton.
Hey, actually, I didn't.
Probably Trenton.
Like I was always like not ever late. Like I always got on time, but I was like running to my spot right at the last second. But I was never late. I feel like Trenton would be though.
I'd say the doo-wops were the most likely to miss an entrance because of like the crazy costume changes they had all over the place.
They
never did though.
So
They were very likely to, but it didn't
I
happen.
think the very first dress rehearsal, there was a couple of glitches, and then after that dress rehearsal, they nailed every entrance. It was crazy because they
What
had
was really-
9 costume changes or something.
What was really funny about the first costume change is every time Katie was the first one that was done, and I would see her come out of the dressing room and like dust herself off and go, yes. Because she was the worst every single time.
I thought
That was a proud
way
moment.
more time than we did, and the first time that we did it, I told you gave us like 3 stage crew girls to help us change, and I was like, oh, we don't like, I don't think we need you guys. It's okay, you guys don't need to help us. And so they didn't help us, and we were so late. And I was like, just kidding. I was so embarrassed. I was like, we need your help.
That's funny. All right, how about this one? Most likely to forget a line.
Oh.
Isaac.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot the lyrics. I forgot the different lyrics 2 different times, and now it's just a gas. I don't know why. It's literally never happened before. I know the song by heart, but I think it's just like the nerves and the fact that it's all the same. It all sounds the same. So I got them now mixed up. So I'll take that one.
Yeah, I don't agree with that one. I think you were pretty polished.
Oh, thank you.
Kyle, did you have one?
I agree.
Well, it's hard because Seymour was on so much. He had a bulk of the lines.
Yeah.
So it probably was Trenton, but in his defense, he had all the lines.
That last scene was a nightmare sometimes.
Yeah.
I was like, plants.
It was the same way for all my Seymours. They always are the last ones to be memorized, but they held most of the weight.
Yeah, it's a tough part. There's a lot of words in that, book that has all the words. It's
Yeah, that one book. Yeah.
Well, and what I wondered was, because I didn't know the script as well as you all, but it seemed to me like every time that Jeff was on, something was all
something was new.
I don't know what was scripted and what was peanut butter or cat food or tuna or.
There were points when I asked, because there's points like person like Jeff, if you give too much rope, he will take every single inch of rope you give that man. And so there are points when I'm like, yes, these are moments. Have fun with those. But then there are moments I'm like, no, let's not go there here.
I love it. Okay, let's do this one. Most likely to know their lines. Anybody in the cast? I'm looking for. Okay, Seth.
I kind of had to know my lines because
that's true.
If I messed up, I threw Tom off, and yes, I think Tom could have saved us, but I just knew if I had any slip up, something would go wrong.
Yeah, I think I'd say both Seth and Tom in tandem. Both of them knew their lines very well because they had to, and they did really well with it.
They were really good at it. Also, I remember Seth, the first rehearsal or something, it seems like he had all his lines memorized day one, if I remember right.
Yeah. The easiest part was that most of my lines were in song. So just listening to the songs, I could get all my lines.
Yeah.
And I remember the rehearsal you were talking about because Trenton said a line wrong and it threw me off. And I was like, I don't know where I am anymore. And everyone's like, why'd you stop? And I was like, I'm lost. I don't have my script up here. I'm lost.
For the most part, though, I feel like everybody pretty much did know their lines. They got it when they needed to get it. By the time they needed to have it, they had it. They did a good job.
I like it.
By Tom's brain.
Most likely to injure themselves.
Trenton, definitely.
How does this work?
Yeah, probably Trenton.
Trenton.
That way.
I feel like I've always had some sort of injury in any play I've ever been in. It doesn't have to be related to the show, but I'm always injured in
I'm pretty sure during one of our rehearsals, our first ones, I didn't really know Trenton. I was just like, this kid is spastic. He's crazy. He was messing with Tom, or not Tom, Jeff. And he was on the railing and he was trying to flip and he totally flipped over and just landed on a chair on his back. And we're like, are you okay? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. And we're like, who is this kid? I was like,
or we had that moment on stage where the dental chair he was sitting in actually fell. I was like, did you hurt your back?
Pain is a choice, man.
I wish you guys could all see Trenton snowboard or wakeboard. He's seriously so good.
She's too nice.
No, he just flips it
I'm
over
a little injured boy now.
I have witnessed. He's crazy cool.
I was actually stoked. I finally went to the lake yesterday, and I hadn't wakeboarded since my most recent knee surgery, and I did a backflip again, and I was stoked.
I'm just answering the next question for all of us.
Sorry, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even Kevin.
He was late every time.
All right.
Most likely an hour with Trenton.
Most likely.
17.
Seth King.
All right.
For sure. Seth King or Jeff Means. And
Yeah, definitely Jeff for sure.
All right. Most likely to break character on stage.
oh.
Ooh.
I remember Emily was really worried about breaking character on stage. I don't think she ever did, but she was like really, really nervous about it.
Close.
They got so nervous when you told them to actually interact with the audience and like say
Yeah.
hi to them. They're like,
They were so nervous before that.
Yes.
Tony, I was like backstage. I was like, you said that, and we're like, okay. Then we went in the dressing room, and I was like, guys, I'm not doing it. And then Katie was like, I'm not doing it either. Now she's like, you guys, we have to. And then like we left, we didn't do it, and then that night Katie texted us, and she's like, okay, I've been thinking about it. I wrote us a little script. You guys already know it. Like, we'll just say this. It'll be fine. Like, we're okay. I'm like, okay. And we were like practicing it in the dressing room. And I was just so like, I talk so much, but you were like, okay, now talk to the audience. And I was like, no. Like, we rehearsed it in the dressing room. And every time I was like, wait, what's my line? What do I say? Like, I was so freaking nervous.
But then we're like,
You say whatever you want.
we were like actually like backstage right before we went on, and we're like talking like, are we gonna do it? Are we not gonna do it? And then all three of us were like, we're not doing it. And then Katie did it, and so then we did it, and they were like, oh, that was good.
Yeah, Katie would come and tell me like, cause she looks angry backstage, like I can't do this, I don't want to do this. And she's like, I'm not gonna do it, and then she would go do it, and it was great.
Well, Katie and I go way back to East High School, where she hates improv, but she wants to do improv. And so, as her teacher and director, I'm like, let's keep pushing you, Katie, right? Katie? And it was nothing. You guys were so cute. And I needed you to warm up the audience.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Scary.
Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Jeff.
Okay.
Or
Either
Trenton.
Jeff and Trenton together.
Yeah.
Dynamite.
We can like merge into one person, just like
Scary to see.
Okay. Take Jeff and Trenton, times it by 100, and you have Jeff and Seth.
Not me.
I didn't know it could be worse.
Seth King was our dentist in the first one.
Seth King.
All right.
It was silly.
Best dancer.
Dancer. Oh, Emily or Ashley?
Oh, thanks.
They both were great.
Flattery.
Oh,
I remember in auditions. Katie's like, wait, what about me?
During
Michelle.
auditions.
Okay, for me, it was always Isaac because not only was he was the dentist and doing all the stuff, but he was the blind guy, and he would come in with his little stick and he's doing this thing.
In my hunched over position with my blind cane, I would just like sit and groove on the
that
side.
was my favorite part.
Sometimes I feel like Michelle was the only one who saw that.
And then he'd have this little fight on the stairs with, I can't remember the guy's name with the blonde hair that had the broom, and you guys
With
would.
Davis.
Yes, he'd try to trip you up.
Yeah, you try to like sweep me off the steps, and I'm a blind guy, and I don't know where I am.
He was my favorite to watch.
Yeah, Isaac is definitely a really good dancer. It was fun to see him in Tarzan, where he actually got to dance some more.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right.
That was fun to watch.
Last question. Who had the best costume?
Oh, damn.
Isaac.
Me.
Yeah, you kidding me? Yeah,
Oh, no.
definitely.
I think I got you beat with my tie.
Yeah.
With your tie was pretty great. Hold on, let's see.
I guess my costume was actually the plant.
Yeah, that is a good argument. That's a solid argument.
Sure.
That's all I'm saying.
There we
I
go.
don't know, guys. I had a dress that zipper broke halfway through, so
Wow.
I topped that one.
All right, good job. You played Kensington questions.
Stuff.
No, we did it.
All right, so final question, and it's for anybody on or off the screen, is lessons learned from Little Shop of Horrors. It can be the moral of the story. It can be something that you learned from doing the show, whatever you want. Emily.
I honestly learned, like, don't doubt yourself. because I know auditioning, like I didn't want Isaac to know I was auditioning, and he didn't know until like the day before he like went to Tony's and saw my name on the list, and I was like,
Yeah.
dang it. And like I for some reason in my head I was like, I'm not gonna make it. Like I don't know, there's a lot. I saw Tarzan, there's a lot of good people, and like just the whole time like it's crazy how much better you really are than you think. And so it was just fun to like build my character and build like my acting skills. So that was just really awesome.
I like it. Ashley.
I think I learned that when you really love like your cast members and everyone that you're working with, it really shows on stage, because this was like the first show I've ever done where I didn't feel like there was any drama period. Everyone really just loved each other, and every day we'd be like, oh my gosh, hi you guys, when we had seen each other the night before. And I think that's what really helped make the show great, because we could work together and trust each other and just loved each other.
I like it.
Yeah, I agree.
Michelle?
So for me, just from my perspective, it's like every night's a gift, but the gift is always something just a little bit different. So I loved coming every night because what everybody gave always had just a little bit of a different twist on it. And that's why I love theater and love what Tony does and what all of you do so much, is because there's always a gift to be given and always something to take away. And it's just so exciting. And this one, everybody, even Jeff, who was always way out there sometimes, you know, every little things were so great. So I just love that about theater, and I love this show.
I love it. Anybody else? I'm looking for Isaac. Yeah.
I think I'd say something that's written like in the script, like before you even get to read the script, and Tony kind of touched on this in the very beginning, is that they ask you explicitly not to ham up these characters. Like, don't try to make them funny. The comedy is there, and the comedy of it really lies in its sincerity. So like playing it honestly will make it way more funny than you like really trying to be funny. And like, you know, how Trenton and now Kevin were talking about making Seymour more genuine, you know, his comedy is there when he's genuine, and so you kind of tackle both the comedy aspects of it and also being genuine and lovable and, you know, relatable to the audience. And so I think it's that was something really neat to learn. Like when I first read the script, I'm like, that is an interesting thought. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I like that.
I got
Trenton, did you have one?
Seth can go first.
Okay, Seth.
Well, I was just gonna say, I really like I've always trusted my castmates, like, but in this one I learned how to like really, really trust them. And like I think like having to trust someone that much in a part was like super cool and like interesting, because normally when you're on stage, yes, you have to like trust your other castmates to like feed off of you. But with Tom and I, we really had to trust each other with like saying the right words and getting the right movements down, or else Audrey 2 just wouldn't have been the same Audrey 2 that everyone got to see. So I really learned trust in that.
Great. Trenton.
I think one of the really big lessons I got out of this is it's okay to be vulnerable and to let people see you. Like just the way I grew up. And, I mean, I didn't come from like a theatrical family or a musical family in any way, shape, or form. But like this one really kind of helped me learn that it's a good thing to open up and to let people see your softer side and your more vulnerable side. So that was honestly, it was a really big blessing in my theatrical life and in real life, just to, you know, allow myself to open up to people and show people that I'm not just this goof off kid that jumps over railings and is on chairs. So that was a really, really close to my heart for this show.
Yeah, I think Little Shop, like I said, I've done this like so many times. I love that it's so fun that people really want to do it. Like we had more men audition for this than I've ever had them audition for any play that I've ever done. We had so many men. It was crazy. And they love it so much. And then you come, and the thing I love the most, because we created Kensington to be this place of like, a home, right? Like a place that you can be yourself. Like I love, one of my students, she made a comment, I don't know if you know, Priest. And she says, yeah, always be comfortable with who you are and don't change who you are for anything. Like it's a place where you feel accepted for who you are, and you feel love. And it's really important that in this environment, you also, you don't judge each other. It's a safe environment so that people are willing to take risks. And this cast, and all my cast with it too, but it's so fun that they're willing to make these big risks and love each other. And they did such a good job. Ashley talked about it too, where they supported each other in such a way that everybody was better because they were loved and they were accepted and they felt a place that they could call their home. And that means a lot to me. It means a lot to me that I'm not just doing theater, and it's good theater, but it's actually life-changing theater, and that makes it easy to keep going.
Yeah, I love that. Jen was raising her hand.
Along with what Henry was saying, is one of the things I loved about this cast is something that I've always known and been taught, and all of that stuff is that the theater is a gift you give your audience, but more so in this show than I've ever been. I've been in the audience. I was sat in the audience, and it was such an intimate audience that I, more often than not, when I was watching the show, I would actually watch the audience. And it was amazing to watch their selflessness on stage, because they worked so well together and so strongly as a team, and they supported each other so much that because of their unity and kindness towards each other and uniqueness as a cast, that they just banded so well together, that embraced the audience in that family and allowed them to feel that same feeling. And it truly was a gift. And that's more so than any show I've ever seen. I was able to see that in the audience and see them feel that embracement from what they did on stage included them as an audience as well. It was really cool.
I love Mara Elgren, what she learned. Can you put that up? That's so funny.
I saw that.
Good point.
Don't buy suspicious plants.
It's a good point.
Moral of the story, people.
No.
Well, y'all, this has been so fun to talk to you and reminisce on both of these shows. And the show is just great, and you all made it great, both shows. So thanks for coming on. Everybody at home, thanks for watching. On Saturday, you can come back at 7 p.m. We have Improvinator, so come back. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ooh, Tony, she can hide.
I almost got it.
All right. Will you guys help me say goodbye, and then I'll put some other people that aren't on?
Bye, Quinn.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for watching.
Add those that aren't on. All right. See you later.